Good afternoon, everybody. And we are ready to start our session, Activate Young Learners from the very first day. My name is Tatiana Shelepko. I'm Cambridge University Press CLT consultant. And the first thing I will ask you to do is to type in whether you can see me, see the presentation, and can hear me. Just a few words. I can see good afternoon, so looks like people can hear me. Perfect. Thank you very much for your answers. And today we are going to cover the topic of coming back to school and setting the goals, how to come back to school, especially in the fourth grade, which is the last year of primary school. So today we will talk about some news that we have in Quick Minds for Ukraine, and therefore I have Darina Sizhuk in the window next to me there. You can see her. Hello, Darina.
Hi, everyone. Hi.
Nice to see you. Today, we will also revise the strategies of implementing life competencies in the lessons and look how learning to learn competency evolves throughout activities. And of course, I will give you a few takeaway activities that you can use with your students at the lessons. And I'm giving the floor to Darina Sizhuk, the Senior Business Development Manager, Cambridge Assessment English, who has some great news to tell us about Quick Minds for Ukraine. I'm moving to the next slide, right?
Yeah, thank you. So hello, everyone again. My name is Darina Sizhuk, and thank you, Tanya, for giving me the opportunity to present the excellent news. I hope that you will love the idea that we have jointly come up with the Lingvist Publishing and with Cambridge University Press. So the good news is that thanks we understand that grade 4 is the last year in primary, and we very much support the ideas of the new Ukrainian school, and with the idea in mind that assessment really helps and improves learning and teaching. We've decided to share the personalized discount code in every workbook for Quick Minds for Ukraine by the Lingvist Publishing, which allows parents and teachers assess their child's performance with international English language tests. We talk about A1 level for end of primary, and this is Cambridge English Young Learners Movers qualification. This is the test specifically designed for children aged 7 to 12, and we recommend taking A1 movers at the end of grade 4. So in case you are teaching with Quick Minds, congratulations on an excellent choice. And we really encourage you to open up the workbooks from Quick Minds. First page, you would find the imprinted personalized discount code and the QR code you can see on the screen right now. By following the QR code or entering the link that you can also see on the screen, you reach to our landing page with all the information in Ukrainian. So this is something that we also recommend parents checking, because we understand that a lot of parents these days are very much interested in their child's English language progress. Find out more about A1 movers and select the authorized exam center, which can help you register your child or your students for A1 movers with the personalized 10% discount code. So I think this is a great initiative. The reason why we do this with Quick Minds is quite self-saying. Quick Minds is the book jointly created by Cambridge University Press and the Lingvist Publishing to specifically meet the needs of the teachers in the new Ukrainian schools. Besides, this is also a great book which is based on assessment from Cambridge Assessment English, and this is perfectly linked to A1 movers. So by choosing Quick Minds, you do two things at a time. You teach your students English, and they get ready for taking their first international qualifications. So good luck with your teaching. Have a great start of the new academic year, and looking forward to greeting your students with international certificates as well. Thanks, and I'll be leaving you for further interesting session with Tanya.
Thank you very much, Darina, and we are glad to cooperate as usual, and we are happy that we are making this like from 3 different sites: Cambridge University Press, Cambridge Assessment English, and the Lingvist Company. And yeah, we will proceed to we will proceed to the topic of our session: activate your students from the very first day. And I will remind, my name is Tatiana Shlepko. I'm Cambridge University Press CLT consultant. And this is, I've already told you what we're going to cover. I can remind that we've heard some news about the activity books for Quick Minds 4 for Ukraine. And we will talk about how to activate our students from the very first day, how to teach them, set their goals, and work with that throughout the year. And I found this funny picture, and this is a very typical picture. Like teachers at the beginning of the school year, teachers at the end of the school year. I know that there are many variations of this picture, and this is some funny thing we make jokes about, but it wouldn't be that much fun if it wasn't the truth. Very often teachers go through burning out, go through different challenges, and they feel really tired by the end of the school year. And we always feel enthusiastic and motivated at the beginning, but then by the end of the school year, we feel that we are completely exhausted, right? Yeah, this joke is forever a joke, and very obviously many of us go through this, right? How to avoid this, at least a little bit. Of course, it is impossible to stay upbeat all the time and to keep the same level of enthusiasm we have at the beginning of the year till the very end. Of course, there are waves of our mood as well as with the students. But if we organize our work properly and our students' work properly, then we can reach this state of this lady, the point when your classroom can run itself. So the more preparation we put at the beginning, before we start, the better it works itself. And usually all of my perfect lessons were the ones where I sat and did almost nothing, just facilitate. So I don't spend too much energy during the lesson, but I plan it for quite a long time. And yeah, my perfect lessons were planned beforehand, and I usually spent around 3-4 hours just to plan the lesson. It doesn't have to be all the time like this, because nowadays we have perfect teachers' books, perfect range of resources, especially for quick minds. But the point is that it's not only about your own preparation, but also about how consistent you are with classroom management. And it is important to set the goals properly. And obviously our goal at the beginning of this school year, if you are now going to the 4th grade, is to to teach students up to the level A1. And what we can say is that materials allow this completely. Of course, there are problems with the amount of students in your classroom. There are problems with the equipment. There are many different kinds of problems. We all have it. We all experienced it. And of course, it's easier to teach if you have kind of 12 students in the classroom, which is the perfect number. But if you have 28, this might be difficult. Excuse me. All right. We know that still there are cases when teachers could actually make it, yeah. And I always recall in such situations Herbert Puchta, the author of Quick Minds, who told a story about a class of students who were all different ages, all knew nothing in English, all had zero motivation, and actually came from the very criminal district of, I guess, Mexico. And there were 80 students in the classroom. And he found the approach to teach them. He asked every single one of the students what is their goal in life, right? Of course, it might be hard with young learners, but still, giving the students a vision of what there is for the whole period of studying, for half term, for a week, and for one each lesson makes really much sense, because this is how students understand why, for what reason they are doing this, and usually their reason is fun. So that's something I'm always saying. Yeah, it is important to include fun everywhere, and somewhere in between the students' fun and our target language, somewhere in between we meet. All right, so if we look at the first page, the first lesson from Quick Minds for Ukraine, what we can see here is revision of numbers, some picture, and what can we do at this lesson so students understand their goal. Yeah, I have here the final product, yeah, the checklist. So we can give our students a checklist. What did I do during the lesson? I spelled the numbers. I remember the heroes, Ben, Lucy, Buster the dog, and all the names from the course that we had in the 3rd grade. I can describe a picture. I can tell and write how old people are, but they can only tick all this at the end of the lesson. And you can keep this checklist for your students at the beginning of the lesson, or on the blackboard or whiteboard, whatever you have there. And having this checklist is like a list of products when you go to the supermarket, and you need to get something. And during the lesson, students can fill it out, and in such way we develop we have two different outcomes of the lesson. First is about learning outcome, English learning outcome, yeah, the revision of the language we know, the revision of everything we've learned before. And another one is the skill, the starting skill. When you tick things you've done. And actually, this is the skill that they will need not only for studying, and this is one of the skills that many people lack in their lives. Plan, do. Yeah, dream, plan, and do at the end, and then tick that you've done it, and then reflect on it. And something that we might even use for ourselves. And it doesn't take time if you make it a habit. It doesn't take too much of instruction if you make it a habit. But to make it a habit, you need to start it from the very first day and be consistent in doing it over and over each lesson. And first, maybe 3-4 weeks, it might be difficult. You might need to explain your students how it works and be strict in that, but then it becomes a habit, and that's it. What competency are we referring to when set the goals and reflect on our learning? What is the name of this competency, life competency we are developing? For example, in the activity I was mentioning before. This is a question to you to type in the chat. Okay, I've got the first answer. I will be waiting for a few more, and I will repeat the question. What competency are we referring to when set the goals and reflect on our learning? Okay, I've got a lot of answers now. Thank you very much. And I saw people writing learning to learn, which is the one I am referring to. Of course, it requires not only this competency, it might be done in collaboration with others. It might be done individually. It might be done through communication and include critical thinking while we are doing it. But we are here referring to learning to learn life competency, and you can see it here. It's the moment when learners develop practical skills to support and take control of their learning and reflect on their own progress. And for primary students, we will be discovering this competency today together with Quick Minds for Ukraine. And I will show you a few activities that can be done to develop this this competency from the very first day. We will look at the structure of this competency. Learning to learn competency consists of 3 core areas: developing skills and strategies for learning, taking control of own learning, and reflecting on and evaluating own learning. Engaging in directed activities and so on, written in small letters. I guess they're shown small on your screen. These are the components of each core area of this life competency, and they show us more details about this competency. We will look at a few of them, but before that, before we move to the components, we will look at the core areas, the 3 purple circles you can see on the slide. So, learning to learn. What kind of competency is learning to learn? This is the competency, I would say, for now is it's one of the most crucial competencies. And today, when the world is changing, and I have a picture here, yeah, change and chance. When the world is changing and it's changing really fast, I don't keep up with all the changes, and I'm sure you don't do that too. But what we can teach, we can't teach our students to like something that will be happening in 3 days, in 4 days. No, we can't teach our students what's going to happen in future. But what we can do, we can develop this learning to learn competency, and this is something they will need at work. And the need to develop this competency is really accelerating, and it is essential to continue learning new skills and knowledge throughout our working lives, not only studying. And even within schools, developing effective learning skills underpins our students' success in all subjects. And it is critical to building their autonomy and self-direction. And education and training need to focus as much on the skill as it focuses on building the outputs of their learning. So you can see that we need not only to develop English as a language, speaking, listening, and other other two, yeah, speaking, listening, reading and writing, but also this ability to learn new skills and new ways to learn new skills, new resources, and so on. And if we look at each of the core areas closer, we will see that they all are kind of connected to other life competencies, like developing skills and strategies for learning as one of the core areas for life skill. Here, when we name this one, it refers to the ability of students to make notes, to store and retrieve information needed at each moment. And these are different techniques that we can teach while teaching English, not separately, but actually at the same time. And if we are talking about ELT context, we should say that we actually benefit from using strategies to help students understand and communicate in English. And all the techniques that we use at the lessons are really engaging, and they are creating this skill. Sometimes maybe it's instinctively, but sometimes we really need to pay attention that, this is a learning strategy, this is another technique, and so on. Another one is taking control of our own learning. And when we talk about this competency, we need to mention that this is about self-regulatory skills for students, the ability to stay concentrated, to stay focused on the task for quite a long time without, even if we have distractors. And this is ability to stay autonomous and to maintain motivation no matter what. And again, this is something we can teach at the lessons, giving homeworks, chunking instructions, and going to the goal step by step. Reflecting on and evaluating own learning. This is about keeping track on students' progress and being consistent in keeping this track. And this is also about the ability of the students to reflect on their learning, to find what worked at each lesson and what did not, what can be improved, where they have to work better, where they need to practice more, and what was really successful. We need to pay attention to the success as well as we do to the areas which need to be improved. And this, again, this should be continuous work. So how does the learning to learn competency work in general? I already mentioned there is competency, there is core area, and there is a component. So if we look at the core area, it's reflecting on and evaluating own learning, for example, one of the three areas, and there are components, three components to this, for example, area. And it looks like this: core area, reflecting on and evaluating own learning; component, using feedback to improve learning. This is one of the components. And example of the can-do statement: acts on language feedback from teachers or parents. So this is a can-do statement for this particular component. And example language, I'll try again. So something students say, we can tell that, they have their learning to learn competency being developed. Like if we hear students saying, I'll try again, being fine with it, being in a good mood, being focused in this task and so on, being positive about it, we can tell that this competency is working just from the language they use. And this is what it looks like, an abstract from the Cambridge Framework for Life Competencies, taking control of own learning. For example, if we take this core area, we have the component managing the learning environment. We have the example of can-do statement, organizes learning equipment tidily so that it can be found when needed. And we can do the example language, from which we can tell that this competency is developing, this core area and this component is working there. I usually put my ruler here. Yeah, and very often students might comment on what exactly they're doing. I'm going to read, or I'm going to listen. And you can see that this is setting goals and planning for learning. So kids, what are we going to do? We are going to read the text. This is developing learning to learn competency. Most probably you are already doing it, but seeing how it works using the framework might really help you. And you can find actually all the information I'm mentioning now in the Cambridge framework for life competencies. And there are now young learners, teenagers and adults, 3 separate brochures. There are seven separate brochures on each competency, and you can find everything if you scan this QR code. You can actually now make a screenshot and save it for you to use it later. This is a great resource, a landing page for life competencies, where you can find out different things about how they work. And also, if you follow all the links, you will find podcasts, you will find videos, you will find loads of resources and articles how to develop this competency. So, learning to learn, how it works in the classroom. It works in the classroom in case, for each competency, we usually have a strategy on how to develop this or that competency. For learners at primary age, it is crucial that we begin the journey of their English course and developing learning to learn competency from introducing a range of routines and keeping up with these routines from the very first grade till the 4th grade. And if we are now talking about the 4th grade, it's important that students keep up with what they've learned already, but also we need to introduce the new routines that they will actually need later in the secondary school. This 4th grade is conclusion of primary school and transition to secondary school, and learning to learn is really crucial here. We are talking about routines for for starting a class, for example, a chant or a song, or some routine you usually have at the beginning. There are great videos of teachers who developed very specific routines for their students, and we can also have something very unique for English lesson, so students get into the English speaking atmosphere, and at the same time they know exactly, I'm going to this teacher, and at the beginning of the lesson there will be this thing, and they will feel like, I'm going to go there. We will need routines for carrying out activities. For example, electing learners to be in charge of handing out or collecting worksheets or other learning tools. And we will need routines for transitioning between activities to use certain rules. And if we have these routines fixed, which is vital, if we have them fixed, later on, we will not need to give any instructions. It will work on you, and you remember that picture at the beginning of the webinar with a lady wearing blue dress and dancing around the idea that this is the moment when the class starts working for you. So you set the routines properly, you are consistent, you are fixed in that, and then it works for you. The more you build on it, the more complicated it can become, and there will be things that you don't have to explain anymore if you are consistent and if you are doing it with a positive attitude, of course. When we think about reflecting on learning, this is another part of students' journey to become more autonomous, and young learners need to develop the reflective and evaluative skills to monitor their progress in learning. And teachers can scaffold this development by providing simple tools such as post-task self-reflective forms, in which learners can evaluate their performance. And usually such tasks are given by the course book, not always. But later on, I will show you such a task. And we are now moving to the activities that I promised. Okay, and we still have 25 minutes to introduce all of these activities. So we will start from the, I will not cover all of them. You can see that there are 4 and 4 and 3, which is 11 components. We're not going to cover all of them, but we will look at a few of them. So the first one is engaging in directed activities. You can see it here, yeah, the learning to learn competency, developing skills and strategies for learning, and engaging in directed activities. Okay, moving here. What do you think this stands for, these two pictures? If we are talking about engaging in directed activities. Any ideas? Any associations with these two pictures? Draw your own family, okay? Might be. Listen and draw. Perfect. Yes, listen and draw activity. And if we are talking about engaging in directed activities, it means that students can follow instructions properly. And for us, it is important to give the instructions in chunks, to chunk them in little beats, and then to give them as portions so they get used to it. So listen and draw activity, or it's called draw what you hear. Yeah, and how it works when learners encounter a listening task in a course book, tell them they are going to draw what they hear. Give them paper and color pens or pencils, and play the recording once for them to listen and draw at the same time, and ask them to share what they've drawn with a partner. This will be the second part of you giving them instructions. And then repeat the activity for learners to draw things they may have missed. So they draw something, yeah, they have a piece of paper, they draw something, and then they take this piece of paper, exchange with the partner, listen to the audio again, and draw what the partner missed. Then continue with the listening task, and as introduced in the course book. Yeah, so before we move to the task itself, ask students to draw what they hear. Learners can also create this activity, work on this activity online easily. Yeah, they could create drawings using a digital drawing site such as Sketchpad, for example, and share it in a digital portfolio if we are talking about teaching remotely. Sketchpad. This is the name of the website where they can draw things and share with colleagues for free. Okay, another component, using effective systems for finding, keeping, and retrieving information. Here I have another picture, another slide with a picture. Guess what the name of this activity is? Whatever comes to your mind. What's the name of this activity? Look at the whole slide in terms of learning to learn competency. Okay, I have point what you hear, reading, finish the story, listening for pleasure. We love story. I love story time. That's closer. It's very obvious. What was your favorite? Oh, I missed that message. What was your favorite? Lost it. Thank you so much for putting everything in the chat so fast that I can't even keep up with it. You see the changing world thing. All right, I can't find that. Choose the best activity. That's something really close. This activity is called favorite pages. After we finish unit, we ask students to find what their favorite page is. And once they find their favorite page, we can give them out a sticker, so they stick it on this page if it's their book. If it's not their book, they can write down the name of this page, the number of the page in their notebook, yeah, and put this page. And then it's not only the page. We also ask them to choose what was their favorite activity during the whole unit. So we ask students to go through the unit and find what was the most memorable for them. It might be different for many students. It might be the same activity for all the students. It might be not even in the book, but they need to either to take a sticker and to make a note about this activity, or to draw a picture about this activity and maybe stick it on a poster in the classroom. So in this case, we let students create and use an effective system for finding, keeping, and retrieving information. So in this case, students know in the book what was the best activity and what was connected to that activity, and how to recall the topic connected to that particular activity. For example, here on the slide, this is the welcome unit, but my favorite activity was the story. Why? I need to think about it. Yeah, I need to make a picture. And in this case, I will be able even to recall short phrases from that story, what the story was about, and what the whole unit was about, only connected to one particular activity. And again, what we teach here is using effective system for finding, keeping, and retrieving information. Another one, using effective strategies for learning and retaining information. In this activity, this is a very simple one. What do you think what's going on here? What is the name for this activity? It's about using effective strategies for learning and retaining information. Okay, compare. What else do we have? Yes, tell about your activities yesterday. It is very important to develop, to keep developing learning to learn competency. It is really important to revise what we, yes, revision. Thank you very much. That's great. Revise what we were doing yesterday. So I have the grammar topic lesson today. Here is a picture, some exercise, some listening exercise, then grammar, then practicing grammar. But why would we have this? So everything feels connected for your students. You need to revise that. What did we do yesterday? We were singing a song. Yeah, do you remember the song? You might even sing the song at the beginning of the lesson as a warm-up, so students recall what it was about and why you start learning these constructions. You don't have to explain. Yeah, we will be learning the new grammar today, and yesterday you had it. No, this is for you to understand, right? But for students, just to feel the connection of what they were doing yesterday and what they are doing today is actually the same process of general learning in English. And usually all the time, Quick Minds is built in such a way that it introduces gradually what you're going to learn from lesson to lesson. You build on all the time. And in the song, you have the activation of both grammar and vocabulary you've learned before, and might be introduction of some grammar, vocabulary you're going to learn. Usually it's grammar you are going to learn. Just like we have here. You can open these pages, lesson 4 and lesson 5. You can open these pages and see that the song at the previous lesson and today's lesson with grammar are really connected. Okay. Another one, using effective strategies for comprehension and production tasks. This is what we hear. The same page, the grammar lesson with Quick Minds for Ukraine. Okay. And the first thing we have here is a picture. And when we are reading or listening texts in course book, they are usually accompanied by a photograph or illustration. And what we can do is ask learners to begin by looking at this picture to guess what the text will be about. And we have a listening text here. So what the text will be about. We can ask students, again, to make up a story. Yeah, thank you very much. Make up a dialogue. We can have little papers with speech bubbles to give out to students and see what different people can tell. What it will be about. Predict some activities or entertainment or family. You never know. But these predictions, they don't have to be correct. This is not the point. The point is to activate their language, their communication, and their ability to predict, right? And then we move to present continuous. That's right. Okay. The next, sorry, I have a technical issue. The next component would be setting goals and planning for learning. Setting goals is crucial, as we mentioned at the beginning of the webinar. And for each lesson, students need to understand why they are doing this. So they open the page of the next unit, for example, unit 1, right after the welcome unit. They open this new unit, and we can ask them to tell why they are going to do this or that activity. And the task here is listen and look, then listen and say the words. Simple, yeah, but why? Yeah, and elicit from students why they think they are doing this. They listen and then repeat. And their answers might be for this page, for this particular topic, what might be their answers. Look at this page. And if I asked you, why are we listening at this to this text, to this activity? Yeah, which vocabulary, if we have to learn new vocabulary, what exactly we're going to learn here from this page? What are the things? Speak about our house. Yes, very well. So we will know what we have in our house and so on. And this is something we need to elicit from our students so they can go, point, and tell. Yeah. After this lesson, after next lesson, they will do it better. After next lesson, they will be able to tell more. And you can ask this question for every activity, not only the lesson, but also activity, because the next activity is ask and answer, then write in your notebook. Why do we write in our notebook? Is there a bookcase in your house? Why would we write that? In which situation could we write that? Yeah, and you can collect very unexpected ideas from your students. The next one, keeping track on the progress. And for this activity, what do you think the name of activity is? To write an email. That's about the previous task. Okay, the name of the activity going there. Imagine, I spy, okay. What is missing? Try to guess, guessing, okay. Did I name the component we are discussing? Keeping track on progress. So connected to this component, what activity are we going to imagine, guess, imagine and guess. What you remember. Yeah, I call this activity, what did we learn today? So at the end of each lesson in the course book, ask students to close the book and try to recall what they learned in the lesson, in the lesson. Something they learned. Close it and, okay, what did I learn? Bookcase, bookshelf, there is a bookcase, whatever you were saying during the lesson. Maybe somebody learned something very specific, and it doesn't even have to be only in English. Yeah, students might have learned something new about their partner. Yeah, for example, I learned at this webinar, I learned that if I have a speaker, I should mute myself. Yeah, these might be different things. So not only from the course book, but revising, yeah, recalling what they've learned at the lesson. Another one, evaluating learning and progress. This is something that is really well done in Quick Minds for Ukraine. This is the idea of Anne Robinson, who is the co-author of Quick Minds for Ukraine. And this is a scale, and on the scale, students need to choose how they feel about each unit and the language from the unit. But before the scale, students need to complete the I can do tasks. Like I can say and spell the words for these things. Bookcase, table, sofa, and so on. I can say, I said. Now I can spell S-O-F-E. S-O-F-R. Okay, you see, I can't spell. S-O-F-A. Then I can spell sofa. I can spell bookcase. B-O-O-C-K, and so on. So once students do it on their own or in the classroom or with a partner, checking each other, this is something we've created for developing learning to learn competency. Another one is using feedback to improve learning. So here, I have my progress card, the one I was mentioning at the somewhere in the middle of the webinar, and I followed all the instructions. I tick the smiling face. I gave my opinion clearly. Okay, and you can ask students to tick. You can create these things for particular activities, or use the same one for all the activities, maybe not all the time, maybe just at the end of the week. So students evaluate their progress, their learning progress. And after giving learners feedback on a course book tasks, write the following sentence on the board. Yeah, next time I will, or I need to practice. Ask students to think about the feedback they have received and how they can use it to do better next time. And they have to, if they have to do the similar task. Ask them to use these sentences, the beginnings of the sentences on the board to write down their own responses. And you can also easily change this exercise into the remote learning exercise as well. Now, when we're talking about Quick Minds for Ukraine, there are already all the materials you need for Quick Minds for Ukraine on the Publishing Linguist website. You can see the QR code on the screen. You can save it, make a screenshot, save it, and come back to it when you need. You also have the link on the head of your webinar, so you can follow that link, and it will lead you to the Publishing Linguist UA website, where you will find all the audio tracks for Linguist. You will find the samples of the pupils book, activity book. You will find the term planning, the yearly planning there, teacher's book, the complete version of the teacher's book, which you can download. You will find poster sample, super dictionary book sample, and super puzzles book sample. Also, we have all the worksheets, grammar and reading worksheets developed for Quick Minds for Ukraine, which you can also use to track students' progress. And don't forget to register for Back to School Conference, which will take place on the 25th, 26th, and 27th August this year at the end of the summer. And we prepared this conference to motivate you before you start the new school year. And Anne Robinson, who's the author of all the adaptations of Quick Minds for Ukraine, will be giving 2 talks on how to make your students progress from the very first day, and how to reach the goals you've set by the end of the year, especially considering the fact that this is the 4th grade and we need to evaluate and to assess our students. Please make sure you register for this amazing conference. There's going to be Ben Knight, Graham Seed, Anne Robinson, and Greg Wagstaff talking about life competencies, Common European Framework of Competencies, exams, and materials for exam preparation, materials for learning, general English, and materials for primary students and secondary students. So don't miss, especially Anne Robinson, for you, those who registered for this webinar today. Quick Minds for Ukraine has pupils books, activity books, and activity books include the discount for exams, as Darina at the beginning was mentioning. You can also order teacher's resource book, super dictionary, and super puzzles books from the Linguist Publishing House, and you can find the teacher's book on the Publishing Linguist UA website. If you have any questions, we still have, I guess, 2 minutes to answer those questions, unless you want to email me. Here are my contact details. If you have any questions, there are flashcards. You can order flashcards from the Linguist company easily. We will have printed versions of teacher's book later, and you will receive this news from your manager at the Linguist company. Thank you for your perception of these ideas. I'm reading reading from the chat and just answering that. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, you too. Thank you for joining and being here today. We actually had so many people registered and so many people at some point taking part that I was afraid that we will have to like our platform will break down at some point. Thanks a lot. Okay, so Cambridge University Press and the official distributor of Cambridge University Press is the Lingvist company. Thank you. You will find links to register for the next webinar here. Give me a second. Yep, scan the QR code and there you will find the program. You will be able to buy the teacher's book from your manager in the Lingvist company. Video lessons, if they are needed, we will start working on them. If we will have to study remotely. Otherwise, there will be a brochure on how to build your online classroom, how to use the platforms, and we will be creating supporting materials as well, for sure. All right, then do not disconnect yet, please, because I have some materials to share. First of all, here is the certificate, and I'm going to pin it. Okay, here it is on the top. Then here are some more materials. The cards, the life skills brochure, and that's it. Okay, I will still be here for a while in case you have other questions. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for being at this webinar again. In case you have any questions, email me and I'll be happy to answer. Thanks a lot and see you in a few weeks at the Cambridge Back to School Conference on the 25th, 27th August.